third time lucky. I've literally reset everything I have. The router, the PC, the microphone, the cameras, turned everything else in the house off that's using the internet. CPU is below 30% still. We're running straight at 30 frames per second. The dulcet tones are back. Excellent, excellent. There we go, guys. Okay, so the bot has pinged on the Discord. Hopefully everyone's going to be here and thereabouts and see what's going on. No idea what caused that. Genuinely no idea. I would like to know if my audio is in sync, guys, with the camera. So let me know if it looks like it's off, because I've had to add some delays in there and stuff like that. So let me know if that looks right. Not in sync, it's a little off. Okay, let me just try and tweak that. Okay, how about that? Is that still off, or is that looking better? Is that closer? Is that less close? Is that fine? Okay, so that, yeah, okay, cool. So the reason I've done the delay, just to give you an idea, is that the new camera that I've got up here actually takes an extra 700-ish milliseconds to process the video feed. So what you were finding is if I had my hand visible on both streams, both cameras, and I moved my finger, it happened at different times. Now you can see it's broadly in sync, it's slightly off, but it's broadly in sync. But then I had to get the audio to do that, otherwise the typing test would have been wrong, and I've no way of testing live what that looks like other than doing a recording and listening to it back. Yeah, so the new camera looks really sharp. It looks really good. The other thing as well is it's got a decent autofocus on this, so if I hold them not too close, you can see I can now show stuff up close, which should be really, really good for the stream. Apologies, I've got shaky hands. I've been drilling into my garage wall all day, so I've got a bit of a builder's wrist at the moment, but there you go. So you can see now that I'll be able to do things like showing stab close-ups as well, so I'll be able to show where I'm clipping on stabilizers really nice and closely. Everything's gonna look much better. So the whole stream should be better. This camera up here, I am going to replace it with the 4K Brio one next week. It's taken a little while to get that one in place and in the right spot, so I'm going to take it away and replace it with the Brio that was my previous top-down camera, which is this one here. So this is what I was using previously for the overhead shots. That's going to become my face cam. It'll be mounted up here where this one is, and I'll get that sorted for next week. This guy is so fluent. We want the old J back. Yeah. Glad the camera looks sharp. I'm glad it looks nice and smooth. There's a little bit of tweaking I want to do with the colour wise, but I'll get that. That's the camera settings more than anything else. I will sort that out in time. But yeah, today we are going to do a build stream. Hopefully I'll be able to show off some new tricks with the new camera. It does mean I'll also be able to take some really nice photographs afterwards. Builder's wrist, I'm going to keep it. Yeah, I was so for those that don't know, I was doing some gardening today and I was putting some trellising up on the garage wall. I've got some rose bushes from my mum's house that I planted in my garden today and put some of her ashes with the rose bushes as well, just because it's nice to do that kind of thing. And I was fixing the trellising up onto the wall, and I basically had to drill into the wall 8, 10, 15 times. So yeah, so my wrist is a little bit shaky from all the hammer drill action, basically. I love rose bushes, and they were my mum's, and we're probably going to sell my mum's house, so I just wanted to make sure I'd got them and that we didn't lose them with the house, just because she's looked after them for so many years. Lots of chat saying everything's better now with the sound. One of the best cams you've seen on live stream. Thanks. Yeah, it is really good. I've got plenty of lighting around. It looks really nice and clean. I should be able to show things like this and get loads of detail on them. Hopefully when it decides to focus. There we go. Hopefully I'll be able to do more like that in the future. So yeah, it is really nice. It's a Sony Alpha A6300 for anyone who's interested in reading the badge there. So yeah, missed new hardware talk. Yes, so it's new camera geo. I am going to be replacing the face cam. That's just a 1080p camera. I'm going to replace that with a 4K camera in the next couple of weeks when I get a chance to sort everything out. The way it's set up at the minute, I was talking to Quer and Martin and Push about this just before the show. That the camera and everything I've got at the minute is based on a bracket with kind of like a bendy arm off the back of the wall, but I'm actually creating a mount for my lighting on the ceiling, and I'm going to have vertical drop down boom arms for the camera and for the microphone, so I don't have to have it underneath the desk either. So that's the plan. It's going to be a little couple of weeks away, but it should make it a little bit easier. I also won't have to have two big tripods either side of me for the lights. I'll actually be able to put them up on the ceiling as well and have them shining down vertically and adjust the angles and stuff like that. So lots and lots to change in terms of the stream setup, but it's time to start investing in that kind of thing now. We're doing more and more of them. Keeper reflex, looks like you left the cage door open. I have got some more than that. That's just the ones that I have on that particular macro pad. I think I've got 31 now in total, something like that. So I've got another macro pad and some boards behind me as well, and then that's what's left over. Let's just see what else is going on in chat. That does look great. Good. I'm glad the camera looks great, especially for switches and stuff like that. It just zooms in nicely, and it's really quick to autofocus as well, so you guys can really see what I'm going to do and what I'm going to show off. I'm a noob and tired of this Logitech G910. Love the size of what's pictured. Recommendations? Cheers. This is an ANSI, which is a 65% board I built last weekend. It all depends on what you want, but we could talk about boards all day on this channel. If you look behind me, if there's anything you want to know about in particular, I'm happy to tell you more about those particular ones. Okay, so today we are building the Raine M3 Prototype, and we do have a bit of a choice to make up. So I want to see some choices in chat. Do we build it with Fey switches? Now, the trick with the Feys is I've only got just enough if I use some tangerines, which are very, very simple, on the mods. So anything that's got a stabilizer is going to get a tangerine switch. Or we can go with the box pinks, which are brand new, but I haven't tried them as yet. I was saving these for my POM kayak, but I'm happy to use them on this build. So you guys just post in chat what you want to see. I have done a few Fey builds recently, which is why I thought I'd give you guys the option of me doing something different. But there we go. It's entirely up to you guys what you want to do. Listen to the two dudes who had something to do with the board. Well, we'll see. Box are trash. Well, box switches are all right. These will probably go in the POM kayak, as I say. I will use them at some point. Clicky switches are always nice to just try out for a little bit every now and again. Most votes are for the Fey switches here. Couple of votes for the pinks. So Faxa and Lewis voting for the pinks. Meowsaw voting for the pinks as well. She likes a bit of pink. Kakan says, don't pull the poor guy down the rabbit hole. Oh yeah, sorry, cows in art class. We will have a look and chat about some boards. If there's anything you see that you want me to tell you about, or if you like the board I'm going to show in a minute, just let me know and we'll talk about that. Pinks, I like to see some variety. Well, that's why I offered it, P for Fur. That's why I offered it. And Board Not Board Designs subscribed at tier 1 for 4 months. My first non-gift sub. Thanks for all you do for the community. Oh, thank you, dude. Really appreciate that. And I'm really glad that you got so far on gift subs as well, because this community is amazing. There's gift subs left, right, and centre. It's always fantastic to see. You know, I'm always glad to see that kind of stuff. Okay, so it looks like we're going with the Fey switches. Bled has posted a few times. I would still say Fey, they're just so good. I think they're all right. I think tangerines are probably a little bit better, and inks are a bit better than that, but I'm not giving you all my good switches, Bledin and Satanicist. So we will go with the Fey switches. Now, as I said, it is going to mean that I'm going to have to use some tangerines, which are broadly the same switch on the mod keys. So that's going to be on the backspace, the ISO enter, and the spacebar. But we'll talk about the board and what the layout's going to look like shortly. Anarchy with the Twitch Prime resub for 5 months. Thank you very much, dude. We really appreciate that, man. Really appreciate the support. Alchemist KB says he feels personally attacked. Any GAT yellow variant is a win in my book. There you go. Fair enough. My co-worker is Mountain Blocks, so I'm not 100% out of the loop. Really cool stuff. Mountain Blocks is an excellent dude. I get on really well with him, so I'm glad you know someone who knows what they're talking about in the community. Good to see. Yes, I know that you're Satanicist Alchemist KB. So just to be clear, the board we're going to talk about today is the Rane M3. We're going to build it. I'm going to show it off on stream in a minute. We're going to build it. You can see all of the rose thorn pricks on my arm from doing the rose bushes earlier on today. And the camera has decided to quit on me. No! What's going on? Okay, let me see if I can fix that. Is that going to come back on? Is it going to come back on? There we go. I don't know what caused that. It shouldn't go to sleep. It should be set to stay on all of the time. I'll try just keeping it active. We'll see how we go. If we do start to have some more technical problems, I'll probably cancel the stream because I don't want to dwell on it too long. But it seemed to last about 15 minutes there without turning off, which is weird. So we'll see how we get on, but it shouldn't be getting too hot. No, it's nice and cool up there. It should be fine. We'll see. We'll see. Let's unbox the board before we get any further. Now, before I take the board out of its packaging, the first thing I want to show you guys is the plate. The camera's doing it again. I don't know what's going on here, guys. It's not too hot. The power is permanently on. Let's have a look. This is frustrating, guys. I do apologise. It looks like we're having technical issues. It was on for 9 hours yesterday without any issues whatsoever because I was testing this. And it didn't have any problems at all. So I don't know why it's... don't know why it's doing this and why it's turning off. If anyone can help me with a quick Google search. Let's have a look. Alpha A6300. Live cam shutdown. Let's see if there's a reason for why it does it. Apparently people are saying overheating, but it's really cool. There's no heat coming off of it at all. It's, you know, less than room temperature. I can't find anything about it. People are saying it could be overheating, but it doesn't feel like that unless there's anything that's going on inside that I'm not aware of. Apparently certain types of SD card can cause it, which doesn't seem to be the case because this is a Sony one. Did I ask it nicely to stop? Yeah, maybe I should do. Power save mode, it shouldn't be on that. It should be on it permanently. And last time we got 2 seconds out of it and then it cut out, so I don't know why it's doing it. Topical crisis, yeah. Can't cancel the rain. We might have to. Let's talk about the plate a little bit more anyway and see how we get on. If it does cut out again, I'll cancel the stream and do the stream tomorrow night instead, and we'll just have to rebuild tomorrow, which I'm really sorry about, guys. But this is for the Rane M3. And I'm going to talk about the plate first because the plate's quite interesting. First of all, it's carbon fibre and it's red. As you can see, it's got that lovely shade of red to it. Let's see if we can get a bit of a close-up view on that. There you go, guys. That lovely red weave. The second thing you'll notice is that it's got a numpad area, which is great, and the dogs come in to say hello as well. It's also got arrow keys. Also supports ANSI or ISO, full backspace or split. Same with the spacebar, full spacebar or split. But the second thing you'll notice is that whilst this looks like an 1800 layout, it's only the size of a 65%. And the reason for that is because this is actually a 40% board with additional rows. Now this is designed by Alchemist KB, who is called Satanicist, or James. I'm sure he won't mind me showing his real name. He's designed the board in conjunction with Bledin as well, and they've got an awful lot to say about it. So I'm going to read you some notes that they sent me over. It's primarily wanting to make an ISO-friendly 1800 Mini. After an open discussion about it on the MK UK server with input from various users, they ended up with the best compromise between mostly standard keycaps and also maintaining original design cues. So bear that in mind when I show you the board. 40% boards are cute and fun. Love the layout of the G80 1800, and combining the two from a 40% and upwards gives me the perfect compromise between the two layouts. So there you go. Some other interesting things as well. It also has 19mm switch spacing, so this is what they call European switch spacing, so it's not 19.05 between the two switches, it's 19mm. When we show you the board, you'll see some thick bezels, which are design cues from the M65 and other boards as well. And it's a wedge case, so no handles underneath the sides as well. So we'll have a look at that later on. There are some changes to be made as well, which we'll talk about as we go through the build. There's a couple of things around changing it from USB Mini to USB-C. Stepped caps being moved to the left as it's slightly out of alignment. So I'll be using full caps on this particular build. Meme cuts are going to be on the plate, so relief cuts all around where they need to be, and then there's some slight changes to the case as well, which we'll talk about at the point. So with that, I'm going to get the board ready and show you guys exactly what the board looks like. Hopefully you'll be as impressed with this as I was. So sadly it doesn't have a fancy box like we had last week with the ANSI, but what we do have is this really nice terminal case. Now this doesn't come as standard, this is just how it got shipped to me, but I'm going to take the case out of here and show you guys exactly what it looks like. So this is the Raine. As you can see, it's got wing keyless blockers. They'll be optional in the group buy, so you'll be able to pick wing keyless blockers or not. 40% area here, arrow keys, and then also numpad area as well. Just looking around the rest of the board, on the back you'll see we've got a single central USB port. That is going to be changed to USB-C. Wedge case design. I can't remember what the angle is actually. James, if you want to post up, or Bledin, if you do what the angle is, that'd be great. So as you can see there, that's just fingerprints on the side of the board. Wedge design. From the front, it's quite low, it's not too high. Condensation on the board because it's a bit cold. So there we go. And then underneath, just the standard fingerprints and mount points, and also the rubber feet as well. Got 8 mount points on the rear of the case. So there we go, that's the board as it's put together. Now just looking under here, there is a tool. I'm going to assume that that's included so that I can take the board apart. So let's start off by doing just that. 7 degrees at the front. Yes. What's the spacebar size? I think it's 6.25U. Oh, it's minuscule off is the central USB, but the USB-C version will be central as well, so that's just a prototype error. Meister Grinsepo with the 4 months sub. Thank you very much, dude. He's also one of our lovely mods, a moderator on the show. And supports split space. Yeah, I mentioned that on the plate. It does support split space. It was with Twitch Prime, and he said top clack equals best clack. Thank you very much, dude. That's really nice to see. Okay. So in terms of size of this board, it's going to kind of feel very much like using a 65% or potentially even 75%. It's going to feel that it's that kind of way out. We've got DMC there as well with a tier 1 sub, subscribed for 2 months and currently on a 2-month streak. Thank you very much, man. Genuinely appreciate the sub. I think, is DMC one of the Twitch members of staff, I think, if I remember rightly? I think so. Okay, you'll notice I don't have the music on as well at the minute, guys. I turned it off just in case that was what was causing the noise. Okay, so we're going to take this apart now. I'm going to just gently tip out the screws over here. There we go. Nice black screws to match the board. and it feels like the screws are aluminium. I'm not sure if you can confirm if they are or not, because they're not magnetic. They're not sticking to my magnet pad. So just in terms of the inside of the board, you can see that we've got a nicely cut piece of silverthane or similar just inside. It looks like some nice shelf liner. That fits really well. It is taped down, so I won't pull it out completely, but it is cut really nicely. I don't know if that's been professionally cut or if you guys have manually cut that, but it looks really, really neat and tidy. One behind the ocelot, thank you, good spot. There we go. Magnetic pad not on stream. It's not, the magnetic pad's just here, but these are not magnetic screws, so might be something to look at for the actual group buy. As you can see, we've got a USB slot in here. Guidance slots and ridges just there. Just show it up to the camera, look. There you go, guys. You can see there's some guidance ridges just here to align the top and bottom cases. Looking at the inside, you can see that the plate will be top mounted, so you can see that the plate does mount onto these mounting points all the way around the outside just there. PCB, very standard. Rane M3 with the logo on the back. Does have the slight extension down here at the bottom, but that's where the arrow keys are. So imagine we're looking at the base of the PCB there. Flip it over and you can see that's where the arrow keys just drop down. Just looking again at the inside of the top case, you can see just here those grooves just for alignment to make sure the top and bottoms are aligned as well. I know this sounds stupid, but can we see the screws with your fancy cam, Jay? Yes, of course you can. If I hold that up there, that should zoom in nicely on the screws. You can see these are hex screws. There we go. But they are not magnetic, sadly. No, you just did that with a scalpel. That's really neatly cut, man. Really impressive. If that was just a scalpel, I'm very impressed. A2 steel screws. Partner when? Partner soon, actually, hopefully 10 strong. We just need to do more streams. So we've hit the timing. Yes, your staff as well, DMC. So we've hit the times. We're 1 or 2 streams away from hitting partner within 30 days. So because Top Clack only does 1 build stream a week and 1 new stream a week, we generally struggle to hit the 12, 13, 14 number of streams that we need each month to hit that partner. That being said, this month, because Brian's done the Kepler builds and the Sirius builds, and he's also done a Kira 80 build from Mike from Novel Keys, that's added up to our additional stream volume. I've got another additional stream I'll be doing this week where I'll be desoldering and rebuilding an LZ GH board. Couldn't remember the type of board then. So I'll be doing that this week. So we should hit partner in the next 4 to 6 weeks, all being well. So there we go. Nice finishing, that's all matte, no sandblasting. So this is anodized aluminium. There is a couple of marks on it. I'm not sure if you guys can see that one just there, but there's kind of a small mark in the aluminium there, but that looks like it's just a machining mark. Again, it's just a prototype, so these things are bound to happen, and it's good that you find them at this stage and you can work them out before you get to the end of the build. There is some slight marks here as well, just in the anodization, but again, all that sort of thing will disappear when we get to the actual group buy run. So just in terms of that, I'm just going to take these screws out of here as well, just so that we're ready for the plate once we've done the build. Just going to move these along. Hopefully the camera's not going to die on me. I'm really worried and nervous about that. If it does die again, guys, we'll leave the build wherever we get to, and I'll look at ways of improving that. Keep the battery and flash doors open to reduce internal heat, and the screen swiveled off the camera. If the lights are shining on it, it makes a difference as well. The lights do have to shine on it given my current lighting setup, but that should be fixed in the next week or so anyway. Let me open the battery door, because that is shut with the fully charged battery cable as well. So let me see if I can just undo that. There we go, battery door is undone. Hopefully that's not dislodged the camera too much. Bordan says, fancy being my sugar daddy, Jay. If you have a chat with my wife, she might let you. That might be an option. Yeah, I can't stop the light shining on it, sadly, Geo, just given the current configuration of the room. That is something that I want to change. Someone said that the matte coating was very nice. It is really nice. It feels lovely to the touch. It's really solid finish all across the board. Even on the bevels and the hard to anodize places, like just here on the corner. If you guys can see that, it's really nice and even all the way through. Again, just fingerprints. But yeah, it is really nice and even. It is a lovely, lovely finish. I want him to pimp me out. Okay, fair enough. People making me umbrellas for in the sun shooting. Yeah, I could do with a little umbrella for it. Maybe if that's the case. Oh dear. There we go. It's decided to shut off. I don't know what is causing that, because it's definitely not overheating. It had 9 hours yesterday in this exact position with no other issues whatsoever. Perhaps I should put the room fan on. Give me a second, guys. There we go. Perhaps some airflow will help it. If that noise in the background is too much, do let me know, guys. Bloody technical issues all over the place. Yeah, it is a dummy battery, so this is the actual battery for the camera here, but the one I've got in it does have a cable coming off of it. So hopefully we'll do that. That'll be fine. The noise is a fan. I've put a fan on to just try and get some airflow. Hopefully that'll help it cool down, if that's what the issue. Yeah, gee, I had the lights on yesterday. Yeah, I had the lights on. I had it up for 9 hours. It was hotter yesterday day as well. It was warmer in this room yesterday. It was working for 9 hours without any issues, and I just left it recording a 9-hour video of my desk with the lights on, and it was fine. And then today, now it's going off every 15 minutes or so. Anyway, we'll persevere. We'll persevere. It could be worse. It seems to be working for a short period of time and whether we reset it. So sounds like a TC issue. Yeah, it's one of those days. It could be because I'm sat here and I am feeling really warm personally, because it is a warm day. So maybe I'm giving off body heat and that's affecting it. It could be something like that as well. Anyway, let's progress. So that's the board, guys. If you guys have got any questions about it, I'll talk about it. You can see that I've just aligned those 2 pins up there. And there is a slight bit of movement in the top and bottom case. You can hear that. But it is really, really nicely weighted and put together. Let's move that out of the way. Jay so hot he causes electrical faults. Yeah, I'm not sure why this is doing it. Hopefully I'll be able to come up with a solution that will take it out from underneath the light if that's causing the problem. Let's just try turn it back on. Let me see if I turn off that light, if we've got enough light with just the other lighting system to the side. Let me just turn this one off. Now tell me if that's too dark, guys, for the build stream. If I leave it like this, is it too dark for you to see what I'm doing here? Does that... No, the display on the camera doesn't say anything, but that's because I've got all the display stuff turned off and a key, so I have to turn it off, otherwise you'd see it on the screen. Is this fine? Is this light enough for me to build with and for you to see me clearly? It's fine. Everyone's saying it's fine. I'd do an extra light. Well, the only other light I have is the one I've just turned off. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, let's go ahead with this. It might not be quite so clear. Let's just see if that focuses nice and neatly. Yeah. Okay. So that looks all right. It looks all right. You are darker than the build. Yeah, it's because I've got the light just shining here at the desk. It's not shining at me. But there. If I'm dark, that's fine. You guys can see me closely enough anyway, and you don't want to look at my face. Let's be honest. So, first thing we're going to do then is we're going to work out what stabilizers we want to use. So for this particular board, I am going to build it with full backspace, with ISO enter, and then also with 6.25U space, which takes up that gap there. Sorry, my phone is going nuts. Today I am using GMK clip-in stabilizers, purely because I don't have many screw-in stabilizers left, and for this particular build I will be desoldering it after it's done anyway. We're building it to test it, and then Bloodin's going to use it with some different switches and things like that. So this prototype is going to get built and rebuilt a few different times. The first thing I'm going to do is clip my stabilizers. So for the inserts, and this time I can show it nice and clearly, you can see that we've got 4 legs on the bottom of the stabilizer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip the 2 thinnest ones. So I'm going to clip this one up in the top corner here, and this one in the bottom corner there. On this one in the bottom corner as well, you can see that it is slightly raised off of the bottom of the stabilizer. You can see that it sticks out just a fraction of a millimeter. We're going to cut that and trim that to make sure it's nice and flush as well. I'll try and do this on camera and up close. So you can see that here I'm going to try and go at an angle, and as I go in at the angle, you can see there that I've taken that completely off and it's nice and flush. I'm going to spin it around now. I'm going to take off the other corner. And there you go, you guys, you can see that's nice and flush on the bottom. 2 of those legs disappeared. We're then going to pop it into the stabilizer housing. The stabilizer housing, you can tell which is the front because it's got this nice cable connector part at the front. Such is the joy of live streaming. Shame, would be a great chance to use GAT glows. It would be. I do have some actually, but I'm saving them for a build stream in a couple of weeks. Hey Tronics, yes, hello. We're having technical difficulties. There we go. So I'm going to put this inside the housing. As you can see here, there's 2 holes on the front of the stabilizer housing. Sorry, the stabilizer insert itself. There you go. And I'm going to put that to the front where the wire goes when I build them up, just like so. We're then going to take the cable, the wire, pop it into the bottom hole, and then clip it in to the front of the stabilizer itself. And there you go, you can see that's how that stabilizer works. And then I'm just going to rinse and repeat that really quickly on the rest of them. Hopefully the camera will stay on for at least another 20 minutes. So great camera quality, and typically crappy, or great camera quality in terms of visuals, but crappy quality in terms of heat resistance of the camera, if that's indeed what's causing it. It doesn't seem to be on a specific time scale as to when it's shutting off, so I suspect it is the heat that's causing an issue with it. So I'm just clipping these really quickly, guys. GAT glows any good? GAT glows feel just like any other linear gator one. They feel very similar to the face switches, very similar to the tangerines. They don't feel terrible, they feel fine. They're not something I'd pick and choose usually for my personal builds, but I've got a bit of a special build of another ANSI with James going on soon, where we're going to build his polycarbonate board. So there'll be a really nice implementation for that particular board. Okay, so they're all clipped. I'm now just going to pop these together. That's one done. The weird thing with the camera is, even when it's dying because of the heat, as soon as I turn it back on, it's instantly working again. It's not telling me there's an issue on boot up or anything like that, so I really don't know what's causing it. If it is the lighting, my new ceiling mounted lighting setup should fix it. And that way we can avoid it being directly in the light, and we can probably even get a fan on it without affecting any volume. Well, that's a lie. We could be happy if the damn thing did not overheat after 15 minutes of use. Yeah, that's true. I mean, in terms of the picture quality, though, I couldn't be happier with it. It's much more in terms of the actual time it's lasting, but the quality of the camera is great. How much is the price expected to be? Satanicist or Alchemist KB and Amir Bledin will be able to help you on that perspective. So now we've clipped those, we're going to lube them. As always, we're going to use some car lube silicone grease. This is dielectric grease. So I'm going to quickly pop that in the cap. I'll show you guys up close what I'm doing. Now we can show you a bit more detail. So we're going to take a small amount on the brush. What we're going to do is we're going to quickly cover one side. We're going to then turn the stabilizer over. we're going to do the other side as well. That's just to make it smoother, sliding up and down. We're then going to take a small blob on the brush, so you can see there's a small blob. We're going to go into the rear of the stabilizer. I'm going to push that down all around the wire. You guys can see there that that's where the wire sits. We're then going to come around to the front of the stabilizer and do exactly the same. Basically, you're going to follow the wire inside the stabilizer and try and push as much lube inside as possible. As you come out, just going to paint the front of the wire, make sure anywhere wire touches plastic there's a bit of coverage. Then on the underside, we're going to take a small blob and just paste it around that base, just like so. I'm going to rinse and repeat that on the other side. I won't show this too up close, but you should be able to still see, as long as the camera doesn't cut out again. Damn thing. Straight into the back of the stabilizer again, making sure there's plenty of coverage. Round onto the front, follow the wire inside the stabilizer, making sure to lube it nicely, paint down the outside as we come down, and the camera shuts off as expected. I'm just going to leave it off for a second, guys. You can look at my face while I just finish off these stabilizers. I'll give it 5 minutes that way, and then I'll turn it back on, and hopefully it'll last right through to the end of the stream. But it is really, really, really frustrating that this is happening with the camera. I do need to come up with a better cooling solution for it then, if that's the case. Geo, I'll let you help me pick up something that I can do with it, that I can change the camera with, that I can stop it overheating, whatever I need to do. You wouldn't have expected it to be too warm here in the UK. Okay. Rip, ice bucket. Yeah, potentially. Just douse it in water. Or find something cold to rest on it. I could probably do that actually, find something cold and condensation free to rest on it. That would probably work. Okay, I'm almost finished with these anyway, guys. Just give me 1 minute to finish these stabilizers. I'll turn the camera back on when I don't have greasy fingers. And then we'll finish up the build as quickly as we can. Bag of peas, sorts everything. Yeah, I was hoping it was. This is why I tested it for 9 hours yesterday, guys, and it was completely and utterly fine. It recorded a 9-hour long video, completely no issues whatsoever. I honestly don't know why it's doing this now. It is slightly frustrating me, but such is life. These things happen. We have technical difficulties on and off. Hopefully my new ceiling mounted system next week will help a lot as well. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, I'm almost there with these stabilizers now, just doing the last one, guys. And then as soon as I've done this, we'll turn the camera back on and hopefully it will stay on. The other thing I could always do is just buy some air conditioning units. Right, let's try turning this off and back on and see if that comes back up. Don't use ISP, they're going to get the condensation. Yeah, I have some condensation proof ones. They're basically like they're designed for carrying in my bag with my laptop and stuff like that, and for sandwiches and things. So basically they're like a box that's got an airtight seal around it. It's like air gap inside. So yeah, try and do that. Condensation proof piece. No, it's condensation proof. It's like an ice pack, like what you put in like a flask to keep things cool and cold, but it's completely condensation free. The other thing I could do is I could just get like a little obviously there isn't a sleep or timeout on it, is there? I've been fooled by silly stuff aplenty. No, it's exactly the same setup as it was yesterday. It lasted 9 hours, so it's definitely not a sleep or a timeout. I think there's nothing coming up on the screen as well. You'd have to say it's hit a timeout. And it's done it at like 3-minute intervals and 15-minute intervals, so I'm not quite sure what's causing it. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm really frustrated with this, guys, so I'm really sorry. And I know it's frustrating for you guys as well, because you guys have been kind enough to tune in to me to see me build these things, and then it's just not working. So either way, anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to push the clip-in stabilizers into place. So we've got one here for the backspace. These look like they're going to be really tight to get in. I'm just aligning the front pins in now. And there we go, pushing the rear pins in. Oh, Lewis is saying apparently there's a firmware update that might help stop the overheating. That is good to know. I think I'm one firmware upgrade behind because I was checking that about the clear HDMI output. So that's the ISO enter key input. We're now going to put the 6.25U stab in. Now I'm assuming that that goes as far to the left as it can do. Because that's the maximum size spacebar it will take. So there you go. So you can see that those are now all input nicely. They're nice and flush across the PCB, nicely lubed. All looking good. I do notice that there is some solder in this particular port here, so I'm going to have to heat that one up as I push the switch in to get that one in properly. People sending me links. If you can PM those to me on Discord, I can't always open them up. You're way more calm than I'd be about it. I try to be calm about things. A 3D printable cooler, excellent. Yes, make sure you're running the latest. I will upgrade the firmware. I'm just looking at the 3D printer because I can probably actually do the 3D printing one. Let me have a look at that. Oh, I see how it works. You can just mount two little fans to it. Excellent. Yeah, okay. It slides behind the screen. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Okay, so upgrade the firmware. That's first thing to do after stream. Then print off that little design and order the file. The little fans needed as well. Okay, and they need a little power source too. Okay, cool, fine. I can do all of that after the stream. Oh, I see how it fits through the screen. That looks pretty cool, actually. Yeah. And it just clips on as well, which is excellent. Perfect. Okay, that's what I'll be doing. Okay, so there we go. That's the stabilizers put into the board. If we then align over the top the plate, you can see that all of that fits together rather nice and neatly. Red PCB, red plate, all looking great. Yeah, if there's one for the A6300, the Alpha, let me know. I'll have a look at that. So now we've done that, what we're going to do is pop some switches in to hold it into place. As I say, we are using the phase switches for everything but the stabilized keys. So the 3 stabilized keys are going to use tangerine switches. So just got one switch in there. Try and do one in each corner. Now, as this is the size of a 65%, it shouldn't take too long to get all of these switches in place. I'm going to come over to this corner and just push that all the way in. This is just a case of getting the switch nice and flush and then making sure that the plate sits in the right position. And then we'll just do the last one in this top corner here as well. Okay, everything's looking nice and firm. I'm just going to put a couple in the center just to keep it nice and raised. Make sure the plate's not sagging. So what you can see now, guys, is that that is nice and flush just inside there with the PCB. And also the plate's now suspended, so the plate's not going to dip down too much. It's going to be held up and aloft and in place by the switches that we've got in so far, which will make putting the remainder of the switches in nice and easy. Just as a reminder, I am going to put the tangerines in just here. Make sure we get these in nice and early. So I've got one for the ISO enter, which is twisted round kind of weirdly. Normally switches are twisted this way, so you'd see them sit on the PCB like this, south-facing LEDs. For the ISO enter, you'd either see it this way, or you'd see it this way. On this particular board, it's actually that way. So interesting to know why. Think this might be the plate that you use, Bledin? Yeah, you should do. So I will need to solder these in place, yes, so these are going to have to be soldered I think that's where the spacebar is going to go, so we'll just pop it there for now, and then we'll test it with an actual key on it before we finish the build. So these will need to be soldered. This is not a hot swap board, and I'll show you that in just 1 second. So just underneath here you can see that these will need soldering on the pins just here and just here. It's not a hot swap board. If it was a hot swap board you wouldn't be able to see the pins through the bottom of the board. I come from guitar pedals, so love me some PCB boards. All this is super fascinating. Good, I'm glad. And I do apologise if the camera quality problems are turning you off of the stream. I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to try and flesh out this middle row a little bit better. Popping the switches in. Now, as I said, we are going to go for full caps lock on this because the stepped caps lock is slightly out of position. So we're going to pop that in just there. We are going to go split left shift, which is the ISO way, because why not? Okay. And then we're just going to start popping these switches in all through the board now, making sure that everything lines up nice and neatly once we're done. Did you update the firmware to 2.01? Got an update that allows you to set auto power off temp to high so it doesn't shut down as easily. Okay, right, adjust auto power off temp in the settings. If you can tell me which setting and where that is, Geo, that would be excellent. I can probably do that on the camera now. I have to share my settings, but that's fine. There's nothing in there I don't mind changing. Theremin Go saying U ISO slash. Yep. This is how I was asked to build the Rane. It's been built in a ANSI configuration before, so we're now building it in an ISO one just so that I can show off how that looks. Nice looking plate. Yes, red carbon fibre. It does look great. It looks epic. I do have some other carbon fibre plates here so you guys can see. So this is what a standard carbon fibre plate looks like. You can see that kind of carbon fibre finish. You also see what a silver carbon fibre plate looks like. And then this is red carbon fibre. Personally, I think the silver is the nicest one I have, but all carbon fibre looks excellent, I think. So lots and lots to do in terms of builds there. Are these R1 or R2 phase? These are R2 phase, kindly provided by mykeyboard.eu. Go check them out, guys. They're great people to work with. Phase versus creams, different for different boards. Depends on what you're doing. If you're doing a metal plate, I would say I prefer creams, but for a carbon fibre plate, I prefer the phase or tangerines. Failing that, I would do inks for pretty much everything, to be honest, if I could. Sadly, I just don't have enough. Necro Woman as well in chat. I saw some great pictures of you, Yulia, at the Clack in Cologne meetup just yesterday or the day before. So there we go. I order all my plates through Max Odin, so that's the guy behind Cable Car Designs, West Foxtrot. All my plates come from Max. Or all my carbon fibre plates come from Max, should I say. Most of my metal ones come from Laser Boost. Switch has just been a little bit stubborn. Looking good. Okay, all nice and neat. Talk about different typing feel of carbon versus alu versus brass. Okay, so lots of people seem to be under the impression that carbon fibre is flexible. And whilst it is flexible, in the kind of length and style and thickness that we use it for keyboards, it's about as flexible as a brass plate. It feels very similar to a brass plate in terms of flexibility. Everyone expects it to be more flexible than what it actually is in real terms. The reason why people use carbon fibre for stuff is because it's exceptionally strong, and whilst it does bend and deform, it always goes back to its original position. So that's why you see it on F1 cars, and it's incredibly lightweight. But in terms of actual flexibility in keyboards, which is what we're using it for predominantly here, it broadly feels like brass, so it's about as stiff as brass. In terms of its actual sound, it's much more muted. It doesn't have any resonance or ping. What you hear is what you get, so you're hearing the switches and the keycaps and the resonance inside the board rather than anything else. It does have a bit of a muted sound to it, so I prefer that. In terms of aluminium, everyone knows what an aluminium plate feels like. This is firmer, slightly firmer than an aluminium plate. If you get it in 1.2mm, it's a little bit softer than an aluminium plate is carbon fibre. But again, I think it's better for MX switches than it is for Alps. Camera's alive for way too long, I'm scared. I'm wondering if turning off the big light above it is what's caused it to be better. Why not more ceramic keyboards? I told you to behave, dude. How is Jay doing tonight? I'm doing very, very well. ISO returns. I know I need to PM you about some stuff. So we'll talk about that later, dude. Oh, and James is here. Hey, gorgeous. Hey to you too, boo. I've got the GID glow-in-dark switches ready for your ANSI build whenever you're ready to drive up and do it. When I looked, the carbon fibre resistance for bending was around 224 GPa or something. Brass was around 115 and FR4 was around 24. Does it feel like that drastic of a difference? It definitely does compared to FR4. FR4 is a lot more flexible. So are plastics like POM and PC and all of that kind of stuff, so polycarbonate. Brass, in terms of feel, for me, feels very similar to carbon fibre. Brass and carbon fibre feel broadly equivalent. The best test I've had for that is the brass plate in the J01 and the carbon fibre plate in the J01. Now, they're built with different switches, but in terms of bottom out feel, it's very, very similar because of the way the plate feels and the thickness of the plate. The sound was obviously very different, and there was different switches, so it wasn't a great test for the sound. But for sure, the brass plate and the carbon fibre feel about the same in terms of the rigidness. It just sounds very, very different. Which plate do you prefer for tactile versus linear? I would tend to go with the carbon fibre for linear, personally, and I would tend to go still brass for tactile, mainly because of the different sound qualities, because especially when I go tactile, I tend to go Zelio V2, or I tend to go Holy Panda, and both of those sound a little bit nicer in a brass plate, is how I feel about it at the minute. But again, it's all opinion, no right or wrong. Dual board build stream, UK 78 and ANSI, maybe. This is an 1800 Mini. This is a 40% 1800 rather than the Cypher, which I built on stream a few weeks ago, which was a 60% and 1800. So this is a mini one. It's a Raine M3. This is the prototype. Seems you aren't into flex. Personally, no. Personally, I prefer stiffer boards. I do have some boards with PC plates and polycarbonate stuff, and other bits and pieces. But personally, I do prefer firmer builds. This is why I like the Zephyr, because it's got a 5mm thick brass plate in it. That feels nice to me. That kind of fits my style, and what I expect from a board. I do like brass sandwich builds like the ANSI. The J01 is very much designed to use true isolation, not to add flexibility, but to create a better sound profile. So that feels like a slightly softer sandwich mount, is the best way I can explain it. And the Sirius feels very, very similar because it's basically the same board in terms of the mounting style. UK 78 is already done, but you'll bring it for the stream. Yes, I want to see the all copper Boyo, James. Definitely bring it. Which switches are these? These are Fey switches, completely 100% stock for this particular build, not modded, not changed. These are R2 switches provided by mykeyboard.eu, which you guys can see just down here. Never heard of Fey. Am I really out of touch? These are the matcha switches that came out a little while ago. They're basically tangerines, which is why we're using tangerines for the stabilized keys. I am a little hyped for it. Yeah, just custom color gap linear it is. These aren't lube, no. And the reason for that, Met Advice Guy, is because this board is going to bled in afterwards. I think this is going to become his personal board because he's been heavily involved in the design with Satanicist. So he's getting to keep this board, so I'm not losing these switches. And then it's up to him if he wants to desolder and send them back, or if he wants to keep them as is. Okay. If I miscounted the switches here and I've got enough for all 3 mod keys with the phase, then I will just change them out and we will do a whole phase build actually. We'll see. We'll see how close we get. Okay. Okay, so that's all the switches in. We do have enough phase switches for the build. I miscounted, so I will just swap out these tangerines really quickly. Oh, excuse me, knocking the camera. Just going to quickly pull these switches out. Place these 2. Now the reason why I haven't put the backspace switch in is just because there is a little bit of solder in the pad that we need to remove. Just going to try and pop this switch out. Here we go. There we go. So as I'm putting that switch in, I do need to be heating the pad up. So we'll do that switch first when we get around to the build. And pop that there. There we go. That means we can now get the soldering iron ready. Let that heat up nicely. Move that out of the way, get the solder ready. Okay. $250 is the goal in terms of the price. That's a really good price for the board. I'm really impressed with it. Love the layout for this board. Yeah, it's great. It's really nice little layout board. Pretty sure that spacebar is in the right place. We will check it before we solder it because we're going to go with GMK Plum on this board. See how that looks. The M3 is a credit to the MK UK community. Nice. Tuxky says, I just bought my first Kale hot swap and got Alu plate, thought about brass but didn't know if I should. It all depends on what you want. I mean, the perfect thing for a hot swap board is that you can try different things quite easily. You can swap it out and try all sorts of different things. You know, jump from one design to another. I'm just going to show you guys what this looks like up close. So, there we go. Red, all the red and all the green matching together. You can see just in the backspace key that one of the holes has got a dab of solder in if it focuses. There we go. So I'm just going to need to heat that up as we pop that in. But that's looking pretty damn good. And as you can see, everything's nice and flush all across the top, all down the side, and all across the front as well. There we go. That looks really nice. Sorry, Top Clack, didn't mean to get solder there. No, it's not a problem. It's dead easy. I can just heat that up and push the switch in as I'm heating it up. So what I'm going to do for this one, guys, is I'm just going to get the switch broadly aligned with where it needs to be. Get ready to push it into place. And just so you guys can see, I'll try and do this on stream. So I'm just going to push it into place. And then typical that the camera went off just as I did that. That's bloody typical, right as I'm trying to show you guys something as well. Let's give that just 1 minute and then I'll try turning that back on again and we'll see how it goes. So basically what I did was I held the soldering iron to the pad as I pushed the switch in. So as I was pushing the switch in, it went through molten solder, and then as I let go, it held the switch in place. So that was what I was trying to do, and that was what I was trying to show you. Let's see if the camera comes back on. And drum roll, please. There we go. We should be back on. Great. Okay, so that was the longest it's been on yet. That was 35 minutes that it was on. So let's hope it stays that way to the end of the stream now. So what we're going to do is we're going to just quickly solder this board together. First thing I'm going to do is just do 2 switches in the middle of the board. I'm just going to quickly drop on a touch of solder onto 2 switches just around here. Then once I've done this, I'll do 1 in each corner, and then from there we'll go through the rest of the build. Just going to jump up here to this corner, and then come down here to this bottom corner as well. There we go, back over this side. And then down to the bottom corner here, which is actually at the top. There we go. And one thing I can show you now I've got this new camera is I'm often asked, what should solder joints look like? So I can probably get you quite a good close-up of what my solder joints look like. So if I tilt it at an angle, you can kind of see they're just kind of mountain shaped. So I'm trying to work out what I'm showing you guys on stream here. There we go. So you guys can just see that that's what they look like. Show you on this side as well. Come on, focus. Oh, there we go. So you can see they're just mountain shaped rolls of solder basically. So there we go. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go row by row. We're going to solder that all together as quickly as we can. Approved. Fax approves of the soldering. Thank you very much, dude. Ever fall in love with something instantly? Only you, Visionaire. Only you, dude. Okay, we'll try and be super speedy quick on getting these soldered into place. I'm going to break for a drink in just 1 second after this row as well, because I've been talking for about 45 minutes now. I shouldn't have soldered that one because we've got a bent pin there, so we're going to have to come back to that one and pull that switch out. And I think that was the camera shutting off that I just heard. So I'll just finish soldering out this row, guys. I'm so sorry about the technical problems today. I thought I'd got through it all yesterday, testing it out. What I'm actually tempted to do is not finish soldering this board, but put some keycaps on it, do the sound test, and then solder it off stream once I've done this row. Try and get the camera reworking, and then go from there and do it that way. So I probably won't finish soldering this actually, just because of the challenge we're having with the camera. I'm just going to finish this one row off, and then we'll go from there, because it is slightly frustrating. Let's just assume, guys, that I have done all of the soldering. If it's going to be desoldered anyway, it's all good. Yeah. Set it up and have a Q&A. That sounds good. Let's put this away. Give the camera a minute while I put this away, and then we'll put the board together. You can assume that I've soldered. You guys have always seen me solder every week anyway, so 1 week of not soldering stuff is not going to do. It is in 1080p, Geo. It's in 1080p mode. It's not recording in 4K. It's doing it all in 1080p, 30 frames per second. So I'm not quite sure what's causing it, but we'll give it another minute or two, and we'll turn it back on. I'm just going to get the board back out now, and then I can get ready to solder it together. Brian's had streams with keyboards not working. I've got a stream where my camera's not working, and it's the first time I've tried to use it. But we'll get there. We will get there. So all I'm doing at the minute, guys, and I'll show you in a second, is I'm just aligning the plate with the PCB, so I can show you guys what that's going to look like. So let's turn the camera back on. I guess I'm the only guy that likes to use resin, even if my solder is resin core. I'm kind of OCD. Yeah, I don't need to use it. The split anti-enter looks interesting. Busting out my soldering iron and Romac. Get a big leaf and waft. Yeah, I could do that. So I just wanted to show you guys, this is what it's going to look like when we put it together. So this is how the plate sits into the case. Looks rather nice from that angle. So we're going to screw this all up, pop it back together, and then once that's done, we will put on some keycaps, and then we'll give a bit of sound typing test, and then it will be nice and easy to take apart for when it's shipped over to the final owner. So we are going diametrically opposed. Always try and do this if you can, guys. It's not massively important, but it does help if you go diametrically opposed. If there's any stress or the plate's not quite fitting right, it will help you fit it a little bit better without adding additional stress to the board. I'm just literally just screwing these in. What are the macro pads on the top? This one's an Ocelot, and that one is some 5mm plate meme from Taobao. It's got full RGB, hot swap, God knows what else. It's a bit of a meme macro pad. I don't actually use it other than for storing keycaps on, but it's got a fully 5mm thick integrated plate, and then just on the other side you can see that it's got tons of RGBs and God knows what else. But I don't actually use it, so it's just one of those things. Mini USB. It's quite nice, but I prefer the Ocelot. It's just a bit more premium. Okay, so the longest we managed with the camera today was 35 minutes. The longest I managed yesterday was 9 hours. Only difference is that I'm sat in front of the camera this time. So how that's affected it, I don't know. Let me just... Okay, there we go. We are doing okay for time. Okay, one more screw for the plate. And then we are all screwed together from a plate perspective. Okay, what we're going to do now is put the base on. Now, given where the USB is on this, I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. So I think the idea is to place it on, line it up, slide it in. There we go. And then again, we're just going to go diametrically opposed with these screws. Might be that it's having to adjust focus every frame, even if minutely compared to looking at a static desk and not having to adjust focus constantly. Perhaps, yeah, perhaps, maybe that's what it is. My experience using good quality extra resin helps the flow of solder and lets you keep the time you keep that iron on the PCB short. It's a bit nitpicky, I know. It's not nitpicky at all if that's how you prefer doing it, dude. That's how you prefer doing it. J, too hot to stream. Yeah, maybe. Maybe not as well. Just trying to remember. I can't see in the light now where I've actually put one or not. I guess I haven't put one in here because why would I have done? Okay. Bloody tricky seeing in the screw holes, I must admit. It's the fact that you've got black screws as well, dude. It doesn't help. I'm the only variable that changed. Yes, that's true. So don't have one in there. There we go. Yep, hard to see. LOL. Yep. Got one in there. One in there. Shouldn't have one in there. Nope. There we go. That's where the last one goes. Solid as a house, this board. It is ridiculously solid. Should have an overheating icon in the middle of the screen. I can't actually see the screen very well, but it doesn't look to have. Okay, all looking good there. Oops. Apparently not. Apparently not. Everything felt as though that was tightened down fully. Let's try that one again. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so today we are going to use GMK Plum because it's a set that arrived this week. So it's going to be a nice, easy set for me to use for this particular build. This is by Jessica. It's her first keycap drop. Build it up here so you guys can see. Plum. Oh well. Yeah. 1.8 kilogram. This was going to be my travel board. It's probably a touch too heavy to be a travel board. I use my TMO50 as my travel board. No flex in this bad boy. I tried it at the meetup. Yeah, you're completely correct. There is no flex or very little flex in this build. Plum boys matching. Yeah, I think we've got most GMK sets. I think there's very few sets that I don't have. I couldn't name them all, but there we go. Okay, so we're just going to keycap this up so you guys can see what it looks like. Now, it's rare I do a 40% board, so I apologise if I get this wrong. Now, as it's ISO, I'm going to use the UK keys, which I've got in a bag at the side of me. So that's why I'm skipping those. So I think I've straight to backspace here. There we go. Straight onto backspace at that point there. I'm not going to put the red accents on here. I'm just going to go for the straight plum colorway. There we go. Going to guess that this side is still all standard. So let's pop these in first. Where's the caps lock key? There it is. Then I'll need the 1.25U shift, which I'll grab in just 1 second, and then we'll want the control key there, and I'm going to use a code key over in this far corner. Make sure the 6.25U space fits now. There we go. And then I'm assuming that's a 1.75U shift. So I'll pop that in just 1 second when I find it. The keycap set should have that key. There it is. Oh no, it's even smaller than that. So that must be a 1.5U key. So let's just pop an alt key in there for now. We'll come back to that shortly. Okay, so I'm going to carry on laying the rest of the board out. 1.5, yeah, 1.5, yeah. I'm not looking at the screen, guys. All standard apart from the 1.5R shift. If you guys have got any suggestions what key would be better there, then I'll gladly take your recommendations. Going with ISO, we all know that anise is superior. Okay, whatever that weird layout that you use, Met Advice Guy, is, then let's go with that. Go with alt or novelty. Okay, let's have a look and see what we can do towards the end. Okay, there we go. So the main thing to remember, guys, that this is a 40% board in effect. So it does have very, very few punctuation keys. I'm going to go with scooped F and J here. No particular reason why other than that they're easily available. And then we're just going to go with our first punctuation key just there. Bear in mind we get to keep correct stagger on this board as well. Tai Chi pad is $125. Yeah, it's something like that. It wasn't particularly cheap, but it's nice. It's a nice bit of kit. Big boy enter key. Yep, that nicotine yellow. That's one way of looking at it. I'm probably going to go with question mark here. I think what I'm going to do is lay out how I would use this board actually, if I was building it for myself. I'll go with 0 just here, like so, and then the 1U, oops, delete key. What would be quite nice is actually if you could fit the 2U 0 in that bottom spot. I don't know. That'd be quite nice if we could do that on the build. I don't know if that's going to be an option on the final layout. Okay. Here we go, guys. Almost there now. And then we're just going to go with the symbols across here. go. And pop some arrow keys in. Weird how it's big, so big yet so small. Yeah, it's the size of a 65% when you lay it next to each other. It's broadly the same size, which is really, really interesting. And we're just going to grab really quickly the ISO keys that we need to complete the build. So that's one of them just there. We need the 2 up here and then the 3 as well. And in fact, do you know what? I'm just going to change that 1 key just there because it'll bug me. Because I would need to have my @ symbol there for it to be usable. Typical. Camera goes off, camera goes on. Let's try it again. See if that comes back. I'm getting really frustrated with the camera, guys. So close to jacking the stream in. Drinks break, yeah. Just about. There you go, guys. That's the board all capped up. I'm just going to move this key set out of the way. There we go. I'm just going to have a quick drink while you guys look at the board in all of its beautiful glory. That due to the EU limitations on recording time on your consumer cameras. Apparently it's because it's overheating, but it did 9 hours yesterday in the same room in hotter conditions and it was fine. Today it's cancelled out 4 or 5 times now. It's not a recording timeout. Sadly, it's probably just because my room's fairly warm and it was underneath the light earlier on. But there you go, guys. That's what the board looks like. GMK Plum on the Raine M3 Prototype. You can see that nice red carbon fibre plate just shining through, peeking through in some spots. Just looking at the top of the number arrows there, sorry, the arrow keys, you can just see that red peeking through. So there we go. USB port on the back, slightly offset just a fraction out. It's going to be USB-C on the full boards. A couple of marks on the case, but that's just due to the prototyping process. Raine M3, GMK Plum, phase switches. Looks great. So next thing to do is try and do a little bit of a typing test. Now, I will warn you guys that I don't use a 40% very often, so the layout is going to be slightly weird for me. I'm probably going to be reaching over here for enter and things. I'm going to try and not do that. Bear in mind the price of this board is going to be $250, as someone has just said. I think it's great for the money. I will definitely be picking one up because I think this will be a great little workboard to have on my desk at work. Work out where I need to put my punctuation and probably have that as an FN key, so FN and punctuation. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying that. But let's do a little bit of a sound test. Okay, so the camera went off right as I was finishing the typing test there. The board sounds nice, it's crisp and clean. Really sorry guys about the technical challenges today. The camera is really frustrating. It's great picture quality, but it keeps dying on me, so I don't know what's causing that. I think it's the overheating. I'll try following the guides that people have sent me and setting up the camera slightly differently for next week and get it fixed. This is Nebula. It's the Sony Alpha 6300 camera. It is using full mains power and HDMI out to a cam link, but it was working for 9 hours yesterday without any issues in the same setup with all the stream lights on, and I don't even have all the lights on now, and it's still having challenges with it. The only thing that's changed is that I'm sat here in the room and I wasn't yesterday. But there we go. So really sorry about that, guys. Really sorry about the technical difficulties. You saw the board, you heard the board. I'll try and get the board back on for the last couple of minutes. It sounds really interesting. Just to cover back in terms of the sound of the board, the carbon fibre definitely makes a difference to the sound. The switches aren't the best switches because I haven't lubed them or changed them in any way, shape or form. They are completely stock. But what I would think is that with some really good switches in here, with some nice lube switches, this will sound fantastic. There's plenty of space inside the case for reverberation, but with that dampening in there, it stops any case ping. So it does sound really good from that perspective. Can hear a little bit of switch scratch, but that's all, you know, down to the switches not being lubed. But it's one of those things. I'm glad you guys have stuck with me. I'm really sorry for the camera issues. I feel so bad. I feel really bad that this is happening. I was hoping that the new stream with the new camera would be great. I'd get some really nice shots of the boards and all of that kind of stuff, and then issues. So I do apologise about that. But there we go, guys. That's the board built. I'm going to call it a day there and try to have a nice early stream and cancel off today a little bit quicker than what I normally would do. If you guys haven't got any questions, if you guys have got any questions or thoughts or challenges, just PM me, ping me. Gio, if you send me all those links to the camera stuff that you found or anyone else that you did, then I will definitely take a look at those. And I will make sure that I fix it for next week. I can definitely find a way of fixing the camera. That shouldn't be a problem at all. Now I know that it's definitely overheating. There's a few options that I can do. I can probably get the screen further away from the camera. I can probably get a fan mounted towards it, and I've got some condensationless cooling cubes I can use as well. So I can probably position them on the camera in a nice way to keep it cool too. So I'll fix that for next week. I'll also have my new lighting rig set up, which should help as well. Everything will be taken off up to the ceiling, and the camera and the microphone here will be on boom mounted arms that come down from the ceiling, so I'll be able to position them nicely. Just need to get it done. Right, okay, thanks very much for that, guys. I'm going to sign off there. This is the Raine M3 Proto. I'll get a sound test up on YouTube in the next day or two, and again, I feel so bad about the camera issues, guys. I'm so sorry about that from the bottom of my heart. I will fix it for next week. But thank you very much for being there with me, and I'll see you later, guys. Thanks.